Well, hello and welcome to PowerPoint 2016, the presentation component of the Office 2016 suite. Now, what I'd like to do is to take a little bit of time and discuss what PowerPoint actually is for you. So what I've done is I've created a PowerPoint presentation for us to take a look at. And you'll notice right here, this is my opening slide, and you'll see it's Microsoft PowerPoint 2016, define, build, and present outstanding presentations. Cute little picture of me down there at the bottom, but you can ignore that. So what really is PowerPoint? Well, PowerPoint really is, like I said, it's a component of the Office 2016 suite, and it is a presentation software application. When we say presentation software, what we're saying is, like we're doing now, I'm presenting information visually to the people that I'm talking to. It is designed to create dynamic, engaging, and informative graphics. Images. We don't want this to be focused on text, and that's going to be a theme throughout these entire courses is how can I use PowerPoint to assist me, not replace me in doing my presentations or in my communications that I'm creating. It's a powerful yet simple graphic editing software. You've ever heard the words programming in Photoshop? Hey, let me Photoshop you out, and a lot of models are Photoshopped. Photoshop is an application that is designed specifically for editing images. What PowerPoint does is it gives us a lot of functionality when it comes to graphic images, not necessarily pictures, but shapes and collections of shapes and taking images from the web and doing things with them. It is a great tool that's got a lot of power, but the interface is very simple. It's built to let your imagination run wild. And what that means is it's only limited by what you want it to be able to do. And as we go through this course, I'm going to give you examples of ways that I and other people have used it and show you some of the creativity that is available within Microsoft PowerPoint. And those things go beyond just what we're doing right now. They go into printed media, they go into websites, they go into a lot of other ways that you can use PowerPoint to present information. Because like I said, it's presentation software, but presenting does not mean standing up in front of a screen and a projector and reading what's on there. It could also be presenting it graphically. It could be presenting it in on web format as well. Now, how is PowerPoint organized? It's important to understand how PowerPoint looks at the information that it contains. And it starts off that PowerPoint is a show. Any file that we have with PowerPoint is considered a PowerPoint show. Within the PowerPoint show, it has a series of slides. If you've been around long enough and you know 35mm slides and the carousel and chunk chunk and the new picture comes up and chunk chunk and the new picture comes up because the carousel is rotating, those are slides. That same terminology applies. I have individual, unique collections of information that we call slides. Each slide has elements. On each slide, there are elements that include a common collection of formats. And they can be things like text, images, graphics, tables, other documents. Really, the slide just becomes the container for the information that you want to present within your presentation through Microsoft PowerPoint. The reality is, what can it be used for? And we're talking about PowerPoint, we're talking about presentation software. I've already alluded to the fact that we can do presentations like we're doing here, where I've got a screen or you're looking at a screen behind me, or maybe I'm standing and talking on the phone while you look at me over the web. And a lot of that is used for sales presentations. Sales presentations is my effort to get my information across to you. Now, if you're in the sales environment or you're in the marketing environment, here's a tip for you. Don't read what's on the slide. PowerPoint is not meant to just capture all of your words. It's meant to give you images that you can associate with the conversation that you're having. You can use it for non-business applications, things like photo albums. So I can do it in a business environment, but I can also do it personally and use PowerPoint to create a photo album. I go on vacation. We all have had that time where we come back from vacation. Somebody says, hey, let me show you my pictures. After another. How about if you create a photo album in PowerPoint that has some neat interactions and allows you to go through it quickly? Not only can you use it for sales meetings where you're pitching this information, you can also do it for informational meetings. You're a member of the HOA and you're having a board meeting and you want everybody to hear this concept about the tree that needs to come down in somebody's yard and you're looking for approval. Well, you can use that to create bullet points, to take pictures, include those pictures, and be able to effectively communicate the ideas that you're trying to get across. Maybe you want to do it for graphic design. Maybe you want to do at home, you're doing a newsletter and you want to create some graphics for your own use. Maybe you're working on your family tree and your family back in its history had a family crest and you want to recreate that family crest in a format that you can use when you're talking about your documentation for why you're a daughter of the Mayflower, why you're a son of the American Revolution. You can also use it from a business perspective in advertisements. You can use this to create advertisement copy, whether it be text or whether it be a graphic that you use. A lot of times you can use PowerPoint in ways that you didn't think to create a graphic that then is transformed into a web page ad or an email campaign. You can also use it as a resume. We're actually going to do that in our beginner course. We're going to build a resume for ourselves. If you can see here, I'm trying to talk about the ways that PowerPoint can be used that are not sales presentations. And the reason is we all know that you can do a presentation. We've all seen presentations. We've all been involved in presentations, and normally we fall asleep during those presentations. But PowerPoint can be used for so much more. So we're actually going to use it to create a resume for ourselves. It can be used to organize your design sessions. If you're in an environment where you've got a lot of competing ideas and a lot of things that are going on with a lot of moving parts, you can use PowerPoint to organize that conversation and organize the information and even be able to rearrange things to integrate the linking between those ideas. Obviously, you can use it for educational presentations. And this means both as an educator to your children, to the students that you have, but the other way around. It's an excellent opportunity for your students to present their knowledge to you in a way that makes sure that you understand they know how cognizant of the flow they're looking at that information as well. So the reality is, let's go ahead and get started, right? You've just seen a PowerPoint presentation. So let's dive in and start talking about what PowerPoint can actually do. So before I leave the screen here, let me talk about the interaction I just had. All I did was I tapped buttons and it went through the presentation. When I'm done with the presentation, I can hit the escape key and it will end that presentation. When I end it, I get to my file, I get to my show. This is Microsoft PowerPoint. This is exactly what we're going to be working with over these 3 courses. Of course, the beginner, intermediate, and advanced. So as we go through those courses, we're going to build one upon the other. We're going to create a presentation, talk about the basics. We're going to get more advanced in the intermediate course with animations and organization. And then in the advanced class, we're going to talk about creating shows and creating some customized shows that are available and really detailed in some of the creativity that you've got. But let me take some time and go over the interface. What I have found with the Office suite, with all of the products that are there, the Word, the Excel, the PowerPoint, is that it's important that we put a framework around where things are. Because as I start talking about PowerPoint, I'm going to make sure that you know where things are when I say them. Hey, go hit this tool, go to this tab, look in this area, so that we're not fumbling around trying to find things. And what I'm going to do is start from the top in the upper left, which is if we're on camera this way, and we're going to go ahead and move our way down in that direction. To that end, you'll notice in the upper left-hand corner, we have what's called our Quick Launch toolbar. And if you've used another Office application, an Office 2016 application, you've been familiar with this. And really, it's Microsoft's effort to make things easy for us that we're going to be doing on a regular basis. Each of these icons indicates something different. Of course, the first one is my save. It's a 3.5-inch floppy. Next to that, I have the very famous, very important, and very powerful undo. The undo functionality or undo tool basically means if I do something and I realize I didn't want to do that, I can undo whatever it is I just did. Now, it also remembers steps, so it will undo, 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 undo. So it's kind of a safety valve for you. Gives you an opportunity to start trying some things and go back up that steps that you took to get back to a point where you can go down a different path. If you think about going down a path, coming back and going down a different one. Over to the right from that, here at the top, we have what we call the file name. In this case, it says intro ppt.pptx. Well, PPT, just to let you know, is the abbreviation for PowerPoint. The way that Microsoft refers to PowerPoint when it does its extensions and when it refers to it internally is its PPT. So if you ever see me go PPT, I'm just meaning PowerPoint. But what this is showing me is what the file name is for this particular document, for this show that we're looking at. When I create a brand new show, it just says PowerPoint show, and then it gives me the PowerPoint. It's a generic name, which means I haven't saved that document yet. As soon as I save the document, it gives me a name and it posts it there. So I know which file I'm actually working on, which show it is that I'm updating. Over here on the right-hand side, we have all of our Windows controls. The first one is the login to the OneDrive. Now, if you're not familiar with what OneDrive is, it's an online cloud-based storage area that Microsoft has. In my case, I'm actually signed up for their Office 365 or their online Office product, which includes the Office 2016 suite, but it gives me an opportunity to save files to their cloud drive, which they call OneDrive. And I'm currently logged into the OneDrive, and it tells me that when I look right here. What that allows me to do is to go anywhere on any Office application, and as long as I log into my cloud from that application, I can access any of the files that I've stored up there. So I can create this file, move it somewhere else, go to another location and do it. And as a matter of fact, I created this at home with my own computer, saved it to the OneDrive cloud storage, came here, accessed it, and now I was able to walk through it with you. So again, that's my storage area. This icon next to it is the control of what Microsoft calls the ribbon. Now, the ribbon is this area here, this gray bar, which contains all the tools that are associated with PowerPoint. This came about, I believe, in 2007, where the ribbon came out, and it replaced menu commands. So what they've done is they've given me an option to either leave it there or get rid of it. And this icon in the upper right-hand corner allows me to configure whether that ribbon is visible, whether it goes away, or it only shows up when I click on a particular tab. If I click off that tab, it then disappears. So that's where these controls are. I suggest leaving it at Show Tabs and Commands. The reason being is while we go through this application, we're going to be referencing this all the time. I'd hate for you to hear me say, go to this and do this, and by the time you get to your machine, you forget where it was because it's not showing it to you right there, and you kind of get lost. So again, leave it right there. The others have to do with the actual window. As with any Microsoft Office application, the window that I'm in is the application. So right now I'm in PowerPoint. Now within every window associated with PowerPoint, I have a file. I can have multiple files open, but they will always be in different windows. What that means is I can have multiple instances of PowerPoint running, but they're going to be running in separate windows. These icons here are the controls for each of those windows. This one right here is minimize. What that does is it takes the entire window and makes it as small as possible, which means it drags it and puts it on the status bar at the very bottom. The next one over is what's called restore. Right now, I'm looking at this as it's maximized, meaning it's the largest it can be. And by being the largest it can be, it fills up the entire screen. This icon looks like it does with kind of two squares over each other. If I click it, it goes back to what is called a restored view. That restored view is a window size. And when I'm in the restored view, the icon becomes one large box, which indicates that now, since I'm in the restored view, I can maximize that particular window. When I maximize the window, it whoosh, makes it big, makes it fill up the screen. 99% of the time when I'm working with PowerPoint, I want to maximize the entire screen. And the reason is we're going to find out there is a lot going on here. There's a lot of things that I can have on my screen at any one time. If it's only a window, then all of that information has to fit in the window. Now the X up here, that is to close the window. Now the way the close window works is, of course, it closes this particular show, but it also closes this instance of the PowerPoint application. So if this is the only window I have open that is running PowerPoint, then when I close that X, it's going to close PowerPoint, close the file, and be done. But if I have multiple PowerPoint windows open and I close one of them, the other one's still running. PowerPoint is still running for that particular show or that particular file. Okay, and below that is the opportunity to share this information. With that OneDrive account, with that OneDrive connection, because it's a cloud-based application and cloud-based storage, I can send a link to someone and say, hey, come check out my PowerPoint presentation. You can edit it, or you can make comments, or you can review it and get back to me on it. So that's how I can share this information across the web to people I may be working with. Okay, so that's the very top row. Just below that, you'll see some words: file, home, insert design, transitions, animation, slideshow, review, view, storyboarding. And then you have this little box here, which we'll talk about in a minute. But these are all of the tabs that are associated with the tool sets that I have. The way that Microsoft has organized all of its tools is it creates tabs, which is a large grouping or category of controls that are available within PowerPoint or any Office application for that matter. We're going to go through each one of those, but for each of these tabs, the controls that you have available are on the ribbon. So the ribbon will change based on whatever tab that I have selected. So, for example, I'm on the Home tab right now. The controls that I have available on that ribbon for the Home tab are arranged in what are called groups or groups of controls. So if I take a look at the Home tab, the first group that I have is called Clipboard. Now this clipboard area allows me to cut, copy, paste, and change formatting. That is all of the controls within that group on the Home tab. The next one over is my Slides group. Because remember I said PowerPoint is organized as slides, it's here that I can affect, interact, add, remove, adjust all of the slides that are in this particular presentation or in this particular show. The next area over is the Font group. Well, there's text on these pages. I need the ability to update the font of that text. And if you're not familiar with the term font, it just means the way the letters look, whether it's their size, whether it's the type of font, the characteristics, whether bold, italic, underline, the size of it, the color of it, highlighting of it, all of those things are considered fonts. So that group allows me to organize the font characteristics of the text that's on any of these slides. The next area over is the paragraph. Just like we have letters, we also have paragraphs. Now, a paragraph is just a collection of text. It's a collection of sentences. And these are all the characteristics that I can adjust of text on my particular slides. But what that means is I technically could use PowerPoint as a writing medium. It could give me the way to write my stories. It's very limiting. It's not a word processor, but a lot of those functions are built into PowerPoint. The next area over here is the drawing toolbar or the drawing group. Now this is an example we're going to see in a minute that these controls are duplicates of controls that are on another tab and another group of controls. Microsoft will do that. The Home tab is meant to be the place where you spend the majority of your time. The majority of what you're doing is you're putting text, you're organizing text, you're updating the paragraph, or you're doing drawing. That's pretty much all that's there. So what they've done is they've said, hey, drawing, which is what you see right there as a group, is a very common thing to do. Let me put it on the Home tab. But technically, it's part of the insert, which we're going to talk about in a second, because you're actually inserting an object into my presentation or into the slide that you're looking at. The last one here is editing. Now, when we talk about editing, there's three things that are available here. One is to find. I can find anything in my document from a text perspective. Replace, which means I can go find every word and replace it with another word. And select. Now, select gives me some good functionality we'll come back and talk about later, because as we start talking about the number of objects that are available on a PowerPoint slide, remember I said that a show is composed of slides, a slide is composed of objects or things. We want to make sure that we can arrange and organize those, and the select controls are going to be very valuable for us moving forward. Okay, so that is the Home tab. Let's take a look for a second at the File tab. Now, the File tab is a little bit different. The File tab used to be called the Backstage tab. And that's because when Microsoft originally came out with the ribbon, they didn't even have a file command. It was just the Microsoft logo, and they said, oh, this is all of your file commands. It's not related to your document. It's file commands. Well, people freaked. They freaked because everybody used file save, file print, file do, file do. So all that they've done is they've replaced the logo for Microsoft with the word file. And it takes us to an area they call the backstage. And it's here that we find all of the controls and settings and areas for the whole presentation, not individual elements. Because it's here where I save, it's here where I print, it's here where I share, export, close, and it's also where I configure the settings for PowerPoint as a whole.